Keep going, baby.
Keep going?
The light's on, baby. Keep going. The show must go on.
All right,
so.
Stop
now, baby.
Welcome to... Shut up.
No.
Welcome to our YouTube channel, Casual Fun. We're just a bunch of friends that play Warhammer together. None of us claim to be very good. We just thought we might as well just start recording it. We occasionally say funny things. So the matchup we got right now, me and my other player, Keon, we're spectating two of our other friends, Kyle and Arturo. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown, I typically like to play as Norska and the Vampire Coast. Keon, what do you normally play as?
Well, first off, before we get into that, I just want to disregard everything you said. This is not casual. This is serious, okay? Warhammer is where friendships are bonded and tempered into something greater and egos are hurt. I just came off a loss from our other commentator, Berkey, and it's a little bit painful for me to talk about the game in a happy light right now because all I really want to do is just cry in my room, listen to some albums from the early 2000s. However, that being said, I like the human factions, and it's going to be interesting to see an undead versus Bretonnian.
Oh, we gotta
Greenskins.
switch up. We gotta switch up.
It's those audibles at the beginning of a play.
So for those of you watching, you need to understand that Zoro takes forever to pick an army.
Yeah, no, it's great because generally by the time your army and the map is set up, you've had a quick dinner, maybe shower, talk to your wife. By the time you're done, he's got his army's lord set up. But the good thing about that is it gives you absolutely enough time to forget that you're playing Warhammer 2, and it takes you out of the psychology of the game. As you know, Arturo is a very psychological player. He always gets in your head.
Only with his first two units. The rest of his army is just thrown together at whim.
Yeah, it never makes any sense. He usually randomly chooses one unit and replicates it about 9 times, and then just throws it at you with absolutely no regard for what you brought.
And the rest of you at home, if you're wondering why is there only one person talking or one picture of someone talking, and that's because no one else has their camera set up, so I'm the only one who bothered to do this. So in the future going forward, we're going to hope to have multiple people up on the screen, but until then, all you might see is just figures of the guys they're playing as in their place. So that's
because I'm artificial intelligence and I don't actually exist.
Alright, we got Arturo has a small army going on. Let's see how Kyle's doing building his army.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting matchup. I mean, obviously you have Greenskins, which have a lot of versatility, a lot of different infantry out of mobile units and ranger units, archer units as well. But Vampire Coast, as you know, has no range at all.
He's a vampire counts, my guy.
As you guys know about the Vampire Counts, they have absolutely no range units. And one of the biggest problems that come against the Greenskins is they can control the tempo of the matchup. They can throw infantry at you, they can throw a lot of skirmishers at you, and it's really hard to adjust to that in the pre-game army setup screen like we see here.
Alright, Keon, going forward though, I think what we need to make sure we're doing is that the person recording the screen is hosting the game, because I can't switch between the two armies right now.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were hosting. I got you.
Yeah, rookie mistakes, because we're not that great, but we got a very boring army on Zoro's side. Not a lot of flair going on.
A lot of units with a brown background, which usually tells you that they're not really cool. Not a lot of personality, rather one-dimensional and emotional.
The smaller amount that you see above the unit means how bad they really are. So, like, we got a lot of base units right now.
And we all know that units who have their mouth open constantly are not good in combat because they're mouth breathers. And if you look at the Greenskins army right here, find me one closed mouth.
I see none. I see all their mouths are open.
Because there are none, Berkey. But they do exist on the roster.
They're really just purely astonished by how lame this video is so far, because we haven't even, it's been almost 7 minutes, and we haven't dove into combat yet because we don't have people that can pick armies quickly.
I take that as a personal attack, even though I'm not in charge of that aspect of it, for sure. We have big armies, big plays, and even bigger egos in the Warhammer scene.
Right. I think for next time, we got to make sure that their voices are also in our discussion so we can peer pressure them to pick the armies faster. Because they can't hear all this comedy gold coming out of our mouths.
I will say that for sure. I have some very nice things to say about the armies right now. The fact that we're seeing ranked up full ranks, and that's 9 ranks on that black coach there, makes absolutely no sense to my brain. But you know what? I'm not the one in this match, okay? I'm not the artist dictating how this battle is going to go.
Exactly. Also, this army of only goblins, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, he is changing it up a little bit now. We're seeing a bit more of the orcs.
He's starting his process of overthinking his army, where he's made the army, then realized he's made an awful decision, and then has to take another year to make it again.
You know, that reminds me of life. You're constantly trying to sculpt yourself for both the marble and the sculptor. Quote by me. I made that quote.
I think we're going to have to do our audience a favor, and at this point in time, we're just not going to do much of anything right now. We're going to speed up the video until we actually get this battle onwards, because as much fun as it is to look at a loading screen, these armies aren't ready yet. Oh! The Greens... I take back what I said. The Greenskins have readied up, so now we're just waiting on the undead, because they move at the speed of a dead man to make the rest of their army.
We promise that there's going to be under 5 puns per hour. We've really set up a legal contract binding us to that.
Our fan base is going to hate us.
Yeah.
All right, we've hit the way to... Oh, finally, Bloodbath McGrath has readied up, a.k.a. Kyle, a.k.a. Interesting player. We need to come up with like good nicknames for each other.
Berkey, you feel that in your gut? That feeling, that excitement?
I mean, we got our Keon the Ever Chosen. Fantastic nickname. Even though I take after Wolfric with my hair and my attitude towards the living in this game, John von Bergstein is a much better nickname than Wolfric the Wanderer. And then we have our Kroko, the Slan Mage. Now we gotta find one for Kyle. He needs a nickname.
I feel like Kyle von Karstein sounds pretty good too, as well.
It is, but we can't have two undead names, you know?
I agree. But what I don't agree on is the balance of this map for this particular matchup. It doesn't give a whole lot of room for Greenskins skirmishing here, and in a way, you generally want to see the Vampire Counts just go head first right into whatever matchup because they lack those ranged options.
Right. So we got some Savage Orcs. Cal can't hear us. Good. Oh, moving his army. We got a nice big idol. Ooh, we got the big rogue idol. Can he? How can he? Why? Because he came me through you? It's unfortunate. We're going to have to get better at this whole... See, it's going to be hard to commentate if they can also hear what we're saying out loud.
That's true, yeah.
All right, we're going to do our best for the audience to take a look at these armies without saying what they have out loud.
If you're listening to this right now, you are literally nothing more than beta testers, okay? This video isn't for you. This video is for us to learn. Speaking of learning, let me learn you something about this Vampire Counts army. We got a backline of skeleton spearmen followed up by a few skeleton warriors. A front line of Graveyard. Now, I'm a little bit surprised that they're actually leading the charge. You generally want the more chaff units leading the charge, but he does back that up with a couple units of Crypt Horrors, which are really good at punching through lines, causing terror, or rather fear, and backing that up too with the Vampire Counts Black Coach as well, ranked up to max level. That's a whole lot of frontline punch, Berkey.
It's a tremendous amount. If our Greenskins player isn't careful, he's going to be in for just plowing through his lines immediately.
And that does make me a bit more worried too. Night Goblins have very low leadership, and against the Undead faction, especially with this much fear going around as well too, it's going to be really tough for them to keep that front line together.
I feel like we got a classic box by one of our players.
However, without any artillery movements, they are forced to move at least into range of one another. I guess
true.
Actually the big gun will count as an artillery unit, so he can cast from a distance.
I think it does. I think the problem we find with the Vampire Counts is that they don't have any ranged. And they really just don't have artillery, so they're always the ones pushing. So I think as a player, you have to be ready for that, offensively and defensively, knowing that the Vampire Counts are going to come after the opponent to start the gate.
Oh, big hit into those skeleton spearmen. Absolutely wrecking 23 models into that already. One shot from the big one. Moving forward, they do have Vargeist, though, to get in the back line, and we do have some range options with the Savage Arc Arrow Boys, but they're pretty good at melee combat as well, too, so that's not absolutely a free giveaway.
Ooh, and the the big one has found a new target and another group of spearmen.
Yeah,
Really
some
going
residual
for
on
that
Cryptor.
anti-large type of units, but you think that he'd pick a more valuable unit to use his artillery on.
I would say go for Vlad, but he is one of the most unimpressive looking scary guys in this roster. Compare him to one of the Cryptors, and he just looks like a walking joke.
He is Keon, but we both do know that Vlad has had some pretty impressive battles in our history.
I disagree. I disagree completely. There is no history behind our battles with Vlad von Karstein. Absolutely not.
Are you sure? I feel like I recall a battle against the Empire where...
Okay, front lines are about to head up into the... and crash against each other. Moving forward, we can't talk about any of the past right now. The future is here, Berkey, and the future is now.
It seems like one of our fellow commentators here, folks, is pretty sour about some match ago where Vlad took on the entire Empire army by himself.
Some wounds don't heal. Just like these wounds in the frontline engagement. Skeleton Spearmen reaching with these Night Goblins. Charge orders kind of stopped on both sides, though. We haven't really seen that punch that we're originally expecting.
No. It's almost just like our Vampire Counts player has forgotten about the back half of his army, and they're all just standing there.
Kind of makes our job more difficult to say what's going to happen when the exact opposite of what should happen does happen. But that's been 2020 so far, folks.
Exactly. It looks like we got a bunch of frontline engagements. The Vampire Counts aren't really winning as fast as I thought they would because they forgot to deploy the rest of their army into the fight. But we do have some magic in the backfield going on against some Greenskins right now. Ooh,
pretty decent cast.
Pretty decent cast. Hit a lot of his own units on that one, though.
That's a wall, Berkey. That could change the tide of this frontline engagement for sure.
Easily change the tide. But it looks like this black coach is making a push towards the back line now. It is interesting, though, how the Vampire Counts player has made no effort to do anything about the big one, as they say. That is just launching rocks down on the Vampire Counts army.
Give some credit and say sometimes it's a good unit to ignore. It's just got 12,000 HP, and Vampire Counts really don't have the best anti-large unless you bring the monster game. And this time around, they've only got those Vargeists and Cryptors, but they're way in the front line, so they're not getting near that thing anytime soon.
Even though it's a big and scary monster, it is very slow and does not do a whole lot of damage if it can't hit anything. So it's a big shiny target to try to attack, but it's almost better to just, as you said, ignore completely.
Speaking of things to ignore completely, just like that past match between Vampire Counts and myself, Vlad von Karstein already half HP. He's getting a melee combat with Grom the Paunch here, and that's not something I think he really wants to get into quite yet.
No, Grom the Paunch is being supported by some heavy swamp monsters. It'll be hard to break through that. It's interesting why the Vampire Counts player is using his anti-infantry units to attack large monsters instead of his skeleton spear.
We are already seeing that healing cap for Vlad von Karstein coming into play. He still has a little bit more wiggle room, but he's taken a fair bit of damage, and Grom the Paunch is himself very healthy, and he has a regen because of that Troll Blood as well, too.
That is right on the money, Keon.
Back line, though, those Cryptors have been absolutely punched to bits, and the second wall comes out as well.
Tons of power bar in the Greenskins' favor.
Yeah, tipping over for sure.
It really just felt like the Vampire Counts they botched it. They had the army, they just didn't get the right matchups that they really needed to pull this one through.
No, we were worried about that frontline engagement with that leadership, but it didn't become an issue. Things just didn't collide hard enough for those leadership bonuses to take effect, and here we are. We have a lot of units left over. The backline, though, Orc Shaman does go down.
He is running away. But here's where the benefit of low leadership comes into play. Your troops run away, but then they do return, and they're very spread out, making it very difficult for the Vampire Counts to really pick and choose the battles they want to go, because then they're just using whatever they have left with their army to go and try to have random engagements. And that might be taking away from supporting the Lord, you know?
You know what, Berkey, on that same note, that Orc Shaman had the Scroll of Shielding as well, so he's still alive, and he actually got some good casts and good damage onto that Black Coach, and trying to finish off some of those Cairn raids in the back that have been harassing his archers.
Right, but is it just me, or is some of the vampire units starting to get a little bit of crumbling going on, because their leadership is just tanking?
Big time, but let's take a look at Grom.
Ooh, that was a big spell right there.
That was a big old sneeze right into the middle of that group there. and they need any victory they can get because Grom the Punch might route. Swamp Thing's routing as well too, and we do see one white flag already.
We do. Oh, but I want you to take a nice look at the health bar right now. Grom the Pouch is basically running away, and who's at full health right now, Keon? Or almost close to full health.
Well, to your note previously, Vlad von Karstein is at his healing cap, and Grom the Punch still has a lot more room in his own as well too. So even though he does route here, he can move around the map, get that HP back, and then re-engage.
Right, but that all just comes down to the micro of our players.
That's exactly, I think, where this is going to fall apart. We see him come immediately back into combat with Vlad von Karstein.
Getting ambushed by the Karen Wraiths. We got
Shot
some
by
zombies.
his own archers as well too. That's gotta hurt. Anyone been backstabbed before? Leave a like.
What about a subscribe, Keon? Can you get a subscribe?
Don't subscribe. Do not subscribe.
We
Just leave a
purposely
like.
encourage our viewers to not subscribe because this is not going to be quality for a while.
This video is strictly for our own learning purposes. You are not welcome on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, we do see Vlad von Karstein coming against the big one here, full HP. But meanwhile, the backup from Swamp Things, who really can put some hurt on him, try to get stopped up by zombies, but a little bit too late on that cast. Well, maybe not.
Vlad, I just feel like he's trying to just weave his way through the battlefield, trying to chase down an opponent that's actually faster than him. So he really doesn't have much going on.
Unlike him to Neo from the Matrix, as somehow, if you have 45% of your army still standing, he can 1v 500. But we're not going to get into that, Berkey. That's
No,
the
we can't.
past.
It's in the past.
But here now, no walk for a while. It's going to be a while for that to build up to. I think what's left on the battlefield is really all that's going to be there.
Yeah, we got some zombies, and the Black Coach is about to just get crushed.
It's late game. With all the buffs, it's difficult. You really don't want to lose that unit, especially now.
No, and I can't say that charging his idol with a Black Coach is going to be very successful. Kyle really needs to swing that around and really go for the archers that can really just take apart Vlad.
That was a big hit, too, and it's beginning to crumble. Critical binding, and it's going to crumble in a minute as well. Grom the Paunch has healed quite a bit as well. Not quite to Vlad von Karstein, but still, as we said before, too, he can get in and out of combat, which Vlad does not have that privilege of. 2 units of archers left alive. I think we're calling this one, Berkey. This looks Greenskins
I think
all
it
day.
looks very, very Greenskins, but we do have to keep in mind that Rogue Idol, oh, but Vlad's crumbling. If Vlad wouldn't crumble here, that Rogue Idol would do more damage to his teammates than Vlad. But
Sometimes you got to spend money to make money. And we all know money means friends.
exactly.
That last unit of zombies.
They just
Guys,
didn't want to go.
Put a dislike in chat for the last zombies who had to say goodbye, doing their very best to keep the dream going.
All right, Keon. As we have the battle aftermath screen up, is there anything you want to say before we finish this? What can we learn from this battle?
Listen, I think the most important thing is when you have this roster and you want to go wide, you got to make sure that you have your units that can put pressure on the front line moving at all times. Those Crypt Horrors, even those Vargeist, they are flying units, but they can really crash into that front line. Make sure you have those attack orders and those move orders on them at the very beginning of combat. Otherwise, they lose a lot of their effectiveness. Other than that, a great play from both sides here. Congratulations to Ray Zorro on his victory. We won't be seeing Kakins, also known as Kyle, the Vampire Counts player, ever again, because when you lose in this friend group, you are cast out indefinitely. No excuses. Okay, Berkey, our synergy was all right. For a first time ever. Could use refining, but hey, that wasn't the worst.
Good rundown for episode 1. So, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you found this the slightest bit amusing, continue to watch our videos. If you thought this was a joke, please tell your friends, because we'd love you to watch it as a joke.
Because my life's a joke.
Dislike, unsubscribe.
There's a lot of self-deprecating humor, as long with any other form of humor we can think of on the spot.
As always, dislike, unsubscribe, and uncheck mark this from your browser. Thanks
And
for
feel
watching.
free to leave the most negative comments. The more offensive, the better it is.
Within limits. Within the YouTube TOS limits.
Yes.